Hello. Welcome back with Lust with Must. I'm just hanging out with my best friend Shannon. And we just put on a little bit of music and we're just having a couple drinks. Oh, I love this song. Do you love this song?
Pink Pony Club.
Everyone loves Pink Pony Club.
Right now, everybody does seem to love Pink Pony Club.
It reminds me. I went to UNC Greensboro and then I smoked too much pot and then I got kicked out or whatever. And then I decided that I was gonna move down to Daytona Beach and become a Daytona Beach Hooters girl. What have you done? That's what I felt like my mom was trying to say to me. Because she was from North Carolina. So instead of Tennessee, it's like, what have you done? You dropped out of college to become a Daytona Beach Hooters girl. And then I went to cosmetology school. Did you ever do anything like that?
I never became
You never worked
a
at
Hooters
Hooters?
girl.
Never?
No.
Did you ever go to Hooters?
All the time.
Did you enjoy it?
I fucking loved it.
Well, back in the, I think, let's see, I was a Hooters girl in the year 2001.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, it was a great time. So at Hooters in Daytona Beach, it was before all this ooh, let's wear vagina hats or whatever. I don't know what we're doing anymore as women, but anyways, it was before all that. And we could hula hoop on International Speedway Boulevard, and I had my cute little shorts on. And I had really little boobies, actually, because it was pre-kid. So I put little stuff things in my.
You stuffed
I
your
did.
Hooters
I stuffed.
girl
I did.
outfit?
I was a stuffer.
It's false representation.
Well, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta fake it till you make it, baby.
You're representing.
Anyways, they didn't mind. So yeah, but I was never a really good hula hooper.
No?
Even to this day. No.
Oh, no.
Can you hula hoop?
I don't think so.
Have you ever tried to hula hoop?
Not for a living, I mean. Once
Anyways.
in the 80s.
Anyways, it's harder than you think. Especially, I don't really have very big hips. I'm really top heavy. I got really big boobs and whatever. So anyways, I moved down to Daytona Beach from dropping out of college. And I got myself an apartment and I put myself through cosmetology school. Actually, hold on. My dad paid for me to go to cosmetology school.
I'm a beauty school dropout.
Anyways, I did work at Hooters, but there was one time. Some people know that I have a tattoo on my my vajayjay, and others don't. But either way, I do. I have a butterfly tattoo on my my vagina.
Very provocative.
It is very provocative. And
Well, I just said, it sounded very
It
provocative.
is. So I actually got that when I was working at Hooters in Daytona Beach.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so my girlfriend and I were like, ooh, let's go and get some...
Do they host it? Do the Hooters host it?
No, this is something I did on my own.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, my girlfriend Sarah and I decided that we were going to go to this party, and there just happened to be a tattoo artist there, just randomly. I'm sure he was super certified.
You got a fucking vagina tattoo at a party?
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
During Daytona Beach Bike Week at a random house party with some guy that had a tattoo kit out of the trunk of his car.
That would probably be one red flag.
What?
One
Anyways,
red flag.
to whom? Anyways, so I knew when I was going that I was going to get a vagina tattoo.
Oh.
So, the guy was like, "Oh, what do you want?" I was like, "Oh, I want a butterfly." He's like, "All right, cool." He showed me all these butterfly things that he had done. He actually was a pretty good tattoo artist. He was just, young. And I was like, "Okay, well, I want it on my meow." And he was like, "Okay." So I'm sitting there in the middle of a bike week, Daytona Beach party, and then I have my legs spread, and I'm getting a butterfly tattoo on mine.
For everybody to see.
Everyone to see?
Everyone saw your area.
Yes.
Your privacy.
Oh, yes.
Whoa.
And the only thing I could think about was like he was super nervous, and every time I looked at him, because he was between my legs, he was like dripping in sweat. And I said, "Don't worry, baby. This is the longest any man's ever been between my legs."
No way.
Yeah, he was there for like 45 minutes. I've never had a man between my legs before, like just like that, like face first.
Sweating away.
Basically, I was like, I've never had a man's face in between my legs for 45 minutes. Anyways, he did a decent job, but you know, I was like so proud of it. I was like, ooh, I'm like the only chick at Hooters that has a vagina tattoo. Have you ever fucked a chick with a vagina tattoo?
Once in the 80s, but you know, I mean.
Really?
No.
No. Anyways, so I thought I was like the baddest bitch at Hooters, and that I was gonna like, you know, somehow make a lot of tips because I was gonna talk about it. Well, what happened was the next day, my vagina swelled up, and it was like this huge bump. Like the whole thing was like a package, like a dick
like
package.
A wang.
Yes, it looked like I had the biggest
dong.
dick. Yeah, like I'm telling you, I've never, my vagina swelled something I've never even seen before. Because
Call
when
it
you think
the
about
sausage.
it's a very sensitive area, so I was stupid to think that it wouldn't swell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I had to work the next day.
Ooh.
So I put on my Hooter shorts, whoop whoop, and my cute little outfit, and then I looked in the mirror and realized, oh my god, it looks like I have a fucking penis. So I've got to go to Bike Week in Daytona Beach, looking like I have a dick between my legs. Could you imagine?
I thought that was pretty progressive of you.
Not in 2001. That was not progressive in 2001. We were not, it was very strange.
Yeah, it was strange.
And so not only did my vagina swell, but it also was very sore. It was hard for me to walk. Could you
Really?
imagine having a swelled, like...
And you had to wear those little tight, like, shorts.
Yeah, and pantyhose and all of that and everything.
Then do they have, like, a culotte?
No. Anyways, I felt like at every table I went to, just so they didn't think I had a dick, I had to tell them. So,
like sweatpants?
So I had to tell them the whole story. So every table I went to, I had to tell them why my vagina looked like I have a penis, like I looked like a tranny, but I wasn't a tranny because they didn't hire trannies at Hooters, at least not in 2001. I don't know what they do now. They may.
Were you forced to, or were you, I mean, like you said, you had to?
Had to what? Tell them? Of course. You think I want them to think that their Hooters girl has a dick? I'm not going to get a tip at all.
What if you just
Let's
pretended?
say, okay, first of all, it's 2001, and you go to the Daytona Beach Hooters, and you get a really hot girl, and you look down, and it looks like she has a penis.
Whoa, man.
It would not. You wouldn't give her a tip. You'd be disgusted.
I
so
would
of course
probably have to leave.
Yeah. So I had to tell them what was happening, and then they liked it. But I had to tell every
like,
table.
Hey, Bill. It's time for you to go. Please, can I have a different person giving me chicken?
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Bill.
So, anyways, I had to tell every table what happened. But it was okay. You know, after I told them, they understood. And I had pictures and stuff or whatever. I had this little Nokia phone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was it a flip phone?
Oh, no, not at that time. Actually,
sorry.
no, never mind. There was no pictures. I forgot how long ago that was. Either way, I had no pictures. I had no proof that it wasn't a cock. They had to go on my word.
Oh.
So that, but either way, I did okay.
I mean, you could have like shown them. You could have shown, like, you're like,
But even
hey,
then,
man, look, man.
But even then, it was so swollen.
Look.
What are they gonna see?
It's
I'd have
really,
to pull my entire pants
seriously,
down.
I just got a butterfly.
Anyways, I wasn't thinking. So
No,
silly.
obviously. Well, I mean, usually people that are getting tattoos at Bike Week parties are not thinking. They're pretty lit.
You want to know what happened after that?
Ooh.
So I had gone to the beach and I had gotten like, have you ever had sand fleas at the beach like bite your legs? Have you ever had that?
No, I don't think so. I've seen some weird things at the beach though.
Anyways, there's these things called sand fleas, and they'll bite you. And if your skin isn't like if it's allergic to it or whatever, so I had these like huge lumps on my legs, and you know, back then we didn't have the internet or whatever, so I thought for a second that maybe I had blood poisoning from the tattoo on my vagina at the weird. Yeah, so I was like freaking out. So I ended up going to the hospital. And I had to show them what I thought it was. I said, oh my God, I just got this like vagina tattoo. And
oh my God.
I think maybe I had blood poisoning. And then this like cute little like PA was like, no, you just have bites from sand fleas from the beach. Anyways.
So you just had, you know, like it's one of those times when you're just like, oh fuck. You'd rather just be sure.
Yeah. And there was
sure with a whole shitload of shame.
I'm telling you, there was another time when I was living in Daytona Beach. I was dating this, like, he was actually ended up being my first husband. But we had been dating, and I ended up getting, like, this bump on my vagina. And this was after I had the tattoo. So I was like, oh my God, like, I think I had herpes or something. Like, I was freaking out because I had unprotected sex with this, like, Puerto Rican breakdancer. Yes, Puerto Rican breakdancer. Ooh, ooh. Anyways, so he brings
herpes to Puerto Ricans who breakdance.
So he brings over an encyclopedia because there was no, like, you know, internet or whatever that we could Google it. And he looks at my vagina, and then he looks at the picture in the encyclopedia. He's like, I just don't think that's what it is. And I said, you're probably right. So let me make an appointment and go and get checked. So I go to the clinic in Daytona Beach. And so I have this, like, woman doctor, and she's like, oh, no. She's like, that's not herpes. That's just a razor bump. She's like, that's just a razor bump. And so then anyways, she goes, she's like, you know, I'll pop it for you, whatever. And then she goes, you know, I'm not trying to be a mother or anything, but it might not be a good idea to have like random men tattoo your vagina at a party. I was like, oh, thanks. And she was like this like 40-year-old like woman doctor, and she was like trying to tell me like, besides the fact that like, because I had told, she saw the tattoo, and I was like, well, I don't think it's this or that or whatever. The only thing she could say was, I'm not trying to be a mom, but I can imagine, besides the fact that you could have gotten some sort of like, you could have, something bad happened to you. I was like, what? Bad? And that never crossed my mind. Bad. I never thought about bad. Always thought about fun. You know, that back then you just didn't think about like bad stuff. What could bad stuff happen? The only thing bad happened was my vagina swelled and it looked like a goddamn fucking dick, and I had to go try to make money and tell everybody that I wasn't a tranny. That's the only bad thing that happened. So what was she talking about?
You were wishing out like Bon Jovi, motherfucking. You were just hoping the bad shit didn't happen. You know, I mean.
But anyways, back then it wasn't like it is now. There wasn't as much bad shit. Anyways, now it's like, what is bad shit?
Always
something
bad shit.
Ridiculous. Anyways, that was my time at Hooters though, but I had a really good time. You know, it was fun working at Hooters, you know, before, you know, and don't get me wrong, I am somewhat of a feminist. I really am. But I'm not a feminist to the point where I think it's cool to wear vagina hats. I'm just not that far over the road, the end of the road. I'm not that far there. But don't get me wrong, back then it was still fun to exploit women and to have them hula hoop, and it was so much fun. So regardless if it was exploitation, I had fun. I made a ton of money. Sometimes I would make $1,000 a night.
That's what I'm saying.
But not with not when they thought I had a penis though. I didn't make $1,000 a
At
night.
Hooters, nobody was exploited for sex, and they were paid. I know damn well by my ass.
Exactly.
Very well.
We had kids there. We used to have kids' birthday parties there.
Had my own kid's birthday party.
It was so fun.
Loved it. He had a ball.
Yeah, of course. And, it was
He was cheeseburgering.
it was fun to be a Hooters girl. I felt like special. Nowadays, it's probably like, I don't even know. I haven't been to Hooters in so long. They're probably like run down. Probably like, I don't know. But back then, the Hooters girls were hot.
A Hooter shim.
A Hooter shem? That's what I was.
Like a she and a him.
That's what they thought I was. That's what I tell every table.
My shim.
Ooh. Anyways, that is my Hooter. I'm trying to think if there's anything else at Hooters that I had fun doing. No, that's about it. I was short-lived. I moved. I went and worked at the Daytona Beach Hooters. Then I transferred to the Orlando Beach Hooters. It sucked because Europeans don't tip. Because I guess in Europe, like, they don't.
What, Orlando is Europe?
What was not tourist? Because it was over by the
airport or something?
No, by Disney. By Universal.
More Europeans over there?
Yeah, of course they come.
Man.
Yeah.
Fucking
So
Disney World is for everybody, man.
Well, so I'm used to having my, regulars coming in Daytona Beach, and then I moved to Orlando because I was dating the Puerto Rican break dancer.
Oh, here he comes again.
Anyways, that would be a whole nother story. So I transferred to the Orlando Hooters over by Universal Studios. And boy, was that a dump. Anyways, I didn't make any money. The people were lame. There were all a bunch of euros. No offense, but you guys don't tip because in Europe they get
there is no tipping.
They get a higher wage.
Yeah, they get better wages.
Yeah, so we're making $2.13 an hour, and they're thinking we're making like a decent wage, and the tip is just extra. So if they leave $2 or $3 on $100, they're like, oh, good. You did good job. No, honey.
Living wage. They can live on that wage.
So anyways, I quit Hooters and I became a Disney face painter, but that's a whole nother story. So anyways, thank you for hanging out with Lust with Must and my best friend Shannon. Till next time.